realized that it was kind of slowing me down. I know there was a conflict inside of me in doing this. This week, I really wanted to be honest about a lot of things. Maybe a week or two ago, I watched a video from Dina about her being a bit unsure about her Etsy shop and her having less sales and not feeling super confident about speaking about the theme because that's not the only thing that she wants to do. And also that her audience all came from these videos that were about selling on Etsy. But the thing is, I do have a lot of experience to share, a lot of tricks, a lot of tips that I learned along the way when I was doing my Etsy shop and really building it and researching. So there's a lot of things that I do want to share with you, but I do feel I don't feel super confident in doing so if I'm not making any sales. And let me explain this. I started my Etsy shop in 2021, September, October. And then I remember my first 6 months, I really did some products. Then I switched my niche and I really put all my mind into it. Like I was not going out, I was not doing anything. I was just doing and building my Etsy shop. And at the time it felt very natural, something that I wanted to do, something that I had the time and focus and energy to do. But I did notice that now in December, 4 months, 5 months ago, I did notice that I didn't have any motivation in creating new products. The only thing that I was excited about was making sales and serving customers who needed help with the products, but I was not eager in creating any new products, and I thought of like letting it go for a bit and just getting back to it once I felt more confident and more comfortable in doing so. But what ended happening was that I actually didn't want to create any products anymore. It started to really weigh heavy on me, like should I still be doing these products? And at the same time I also created my first video about my first month on Etsy, which totally gained a lot of views, and it kind of pushed me to the direction of really exploring and sharing everything I know about Etsy. But I already knew at that point, like listening to my intuition, I already knew that Etsy was not the theme or the topic that I really want to cover on this channel. And I realized that it was kind of slowing me down because the themes that I want to talk about is just my life in general, being a photographer, exploring photography as a business owner, and also just sharing my experiences in being a student at Alda University and just everything to do with like just my personal life more than Etsy business or selling products on Etsy. I know that there was a conflict inside of me in doing this because I felt that that was something that you wanted and I wanted to provide that for you. And I do still think that Etsy is a great platform to sell, and I do think that a lot of people can succeed in doing so, but for me it was very much of a difficult path, and I do think it is for a lot of people. But for me, I felt that only when I was creating products, like 5 products per week, I would see movement in my shop, I would see people visiting my shop, seeing my products without any ads. But I had to really be super consistent, so active all the time, even if I didn't have the energy. And after deciding that I didn't want to actively continue this anymore, I noticed that even if January was the best month that I had, I think it had a lot to do with still having some kind of traction in Etsy. Like Etsy somehow noticed that I had a lot of products and there was a lot of new listings in January. But then once I gradually stopped doing so, or like stopped uploading any listings, I noticed that there was less people coming into my shop. So having an Etsy shop on its own without doing anything for it, I don't know if that's possible really. I mean, if you do build a shop that is not connected with Etsy, I think you can really hold on to a more sustainable and steady traffic than having your products on Etsy, because there are multiple other sellers who are also uploading their products, and really maybe some sellers are more active than you are. So Etsy always pushes the ones that are creating new listings and really being active on the platform. So if you're not doing so for whatever reasons, your visitor count would automatically drop. And once I realized this, there was like slight frustration, not even slight, just like huge frustration. At the same time, I wanted to provide you with all the information that I did learn and that I do think is valuable and something that I do want to share with everyone. But at the same time also, I felt very disappointed in the way that it all went, because I felt like, you know, once you really put your mind into it, you can really like break through with it, and your Etsy shop will really have a solid client base. But the thing is, I was doing this for 2 years. 2 years. And for me personally, that felt like a long time to create something and then for it to just vanish once I took a bit time for myself, for my mental health, and also for studying, for working, because I do other things than only creating listings for Etsy. Yeah, that felt somewhat discouraging, and at the same time I was supposed to kind of praise Etsy for you guys, so you would then see it as a possibility for yourself. But what I wanted to really clarify with this video is that I did have this feeling for the last 4 months maybe, but because I had a lot to show on the shop, and what I did and what I learned, I still wanted to, you know, share these insights, even if I had an internal conflict about it. And I do still want to share things that I know about photography, about the Etsy shop, but maybe in a way that it's not dominating the channel, because I did feel like I wanted to produce more Etsy videos, because I learned and I saw that a lot of you wanted to see those videos. So it felt like a natural path to take, and at this time it feels like something that it doesn't feel as good anymore. So just based on that feeling, I wanted to share with you that the Etsy videos that are here on this channel will still stay here and you can still come back to them, but I will not be really focusing on those. I want to create a channel where I introduce you to different aspects, different parts of my life, and Etsy is just being one of them. I really feel grateful for seeing Dina's video, because once I saw the video I was like, she just verbalized everything that I've been feeling, and just seeing her do it, I felt like I can also do it and I can share this thing, and I don't need to stay quiet with how I feel about this. The second thing is, I was not able to fully show you guys what was going on in my shop, because I felt like I had to kind of keep it in the down low, have my shop to be on the side, because I did notice previously when I started my shop that sharing the name of the shop is not really a good idea. So I had to kind of be very aware of what I shared about the shop and what did I tell about the shop. And now I don't have that anymore, so I can share anything and everything. I can share like specific designs, I can share everything that I have in the shop. The shop is still up and running and people can leave reviews, but they cannot purchase the listings or anything else. So I will at some point maybe get back to it and make some sort of a review about it. And there were some shops that you commented in some of my videos that you wanted me to do an Etsy audit. I can still do it, and I would love to still do it and maybe make a video out of it. But now more than ever, I'm able to share real details about my shop and, you know, the niche that I was working in, the prices that I was having, the keywords that I was using, like everything really specific, because it's not affecting my sales anymore, so it doesn't matter anymore. I had a bit of a painful realization to get to this point, and I was really thinking about like, how do I want this channel to look? How do I want to present myself? What is really valuable in my experience that I can share with you, and how do I share it like concretely? Because I want it to be an open space to be able to discuss about other things too. And once you have like very tight frame where you're trying to present yourself or show yourself in this very tight frame, it felt there was like little to no room to move into any other direction. And I felt like whenever I was posting videos about, let's say, photography, which is the main topic in my life, I felt like it was not gaining as much views because it was not considered to be as important as like running an Etsy shop. And honestly, I feel a bit burnt out about this whole Etsy wave that everybody is trying to jump on. I felt like kind of lost its glamour in a way, that people, like some people were really making loads of revenue out of having an Etsy shop. But I'm pretty sure, like, I'm not obviously speaking for everyone, but the videos that I saw were mainly about sellers that had physical products, and that can do really great. Like, you can do really great with physical products, but of course you would have to store them somewhere, you would have to figure out shipping costs. So there's a lot more into it, but people are always more willing to pay for a product that is popular or trending if it's an actual product. People will always feel like they have more value for money. This is something that I realized, and because I didn't want to move into having physical products in my shop, I knew that like the biggest income will not be coming out of digital products. For some, of course, it could also be that you would want to kind of take a chance on niches like weddings and children's printables and digital products, and this I think is a very lucrative niche, but you would have to have a lot of products in order to compete with the shops that are now doing super well. And I actually did try to open at some point a new shop that would have kids cards, like digital birthday cards and stuff like this, but it already felt like so much more work that I had in my first shop. And honestly, I really have to respect the people who are doing this, because how do they have time? Like, do they have some designers to do these things? Are they doing this on their own? There's a lot to learn, there's a lot to implement in your shop, and then just having the patience to see what works and what doesn't. And like, even on my best month when I made $433, the thing is, I only received like, I think 250 euros on my account from this. And I was hugely disappointed. This was something that I was so disappointed in. I felt like, wow, like this income should have been like covering a lot more of my expenses. And then I really looked into like the finances, and I noticed that there was huge fees that Etsy took. And that was also very discouraging like realization that even if you create a product which will then cost you to create this product, you will then pay for renewing fees. So when the product automatically renews itself, if you want to keep selling it, it will have to renew itself. And on top of this, you would pay transaction fees and some other fees if somebody buys it. So if you have a $15 product, you might be getting $9 out of it. So it was very discouraging, and it felt like I was just like having pennies out of my product that I really put time and effort into. And yeah, not to say that Etsy's like inherently bad or just not a good platform to sell, but I did feel frustration, a lot of frustration with the shop. And now when I closed my shop, and I did have like, I think $80 in sales this month or something like this, and I actually had to pay $1 so I could close my shop, because those were just fees that I had. Fees for what? I didn't do any ads. They're just fees for all of the products that I had, like renewal fees. Yeah, just the fees to renew the products, and also from the sales. Yeah, overall, the revenue didn't compensate with my time and effort and my input that I put in the shop. So I decided to really focus on other things, one of them being this YouTube channel, really kind of researching what I want to share with you guys and what are interesting topics that you want to hear me speak about or maybe document. I also want to focus on my website. I have a photography blog, and I'm really wanting to kind of focus on that a bit more, writing more articles on that, and creating a platform on my website where I can sell the same products that I had on Etsy, so that I can actually have them products somewhere on sale without having to pay any fees when selling them. But yeah, this is something that was really sitting on my mind. Like, I was really thinking about this and wanting to share this with you. And at the same time, I somehow like, I felt a bit like ashamed maybe to share that my journey wasn't as expected, and also that even when I did see movement, even if I did make loads of sales, like I had great conversion, like 2.6 I think, or 2.8 on some months, this can still happen. Like, this is so normal, and I do feel like Etsy is definitely not passive. I felt at some point that if I just make, let's say, 200 to 400 products, I could just leave the platform be and it will create revenue for me. That's not the case. The case is that you're only able to make income out of Etsy if you're creating products on a weekly basis, or even a monthly basis, I think. But if you're looking into it and thinking that this would be a passive income opportunity, I highly doubt it. But of course, everybody is free to do an experiment and just see how their products are selling, and really kind of create their own shop based on their own products and ability to really invest in the shop. Yeah, this was really on my mind, and I'm glad I could share it with you. And I'm really gonna kind of look into this whole channel and what I want to do. I'm trying to graduate this year as a master in photography. I write my thesis. It's also something that is really, it kind of requires my time, but I'm not able to concentrate in writing if I have tons of other little things to do in which Etsy was it was weighing on me. Like at some point I was not even expecting any sales. Like I would always look in the app, see that I had no sales, and it was very discouraging to think about that there was no sales just because I haven't done any products in like 2 months. I do suggest that you think about what you're doing in your shop and how do you want to take it further? I mean, but there are so many other great things in my life, and I know that Etsy was just one part. I feel very relieved that I was able to share this with you, and I know you understand. And I hope you still stick around to see what I can share from my journey as an entrepreneur, because there are still so many other ways of creating an income and building a business. And there are also great passive income streams that you can do and you can really learn from other than Etsy. Because as I said already, Etsy is definitely not a passive income stream, in my opinion, of course, but yeah. So yeah, thanks for watching this week, and I hope to see you next week.